I'll be showing you how I animated this shot and going over some of my workflow for creature animation. I hope you enjoy!
I started off by collecting ideas and references. With the help of Eddie Chu, we built a cool looking sequence using movies as inspiration. I then made this into a 2D animatic. I find this useful to quickly visualize ideas and make variations. I like to analyze references to get a good sense of the creature or character that I'm working on. For instance, a human running would land their heels before their toes. But if I look at an ostrich running, for example, I can see that they land their toes first, which spread when the weight is put on the foot. Because the shot is a chase sequence, I started off by animating run cycles for both the bird and the rat. This was also great to get a feel for the rigs and explore how each character might move. Here I also made sure that the creatures moved correctly for their size. After blocking out the rough character and camera moves just using the root control, I placed the run cycles into the shot and blocked out the scene. I put them on a rough path by using the root control to move them around, editing the curve in the graph editor. You can also create a motion path. By hitting spacebar in the viewport, visualize, create editable motion trail. Make sure to hit show motion trails to see it. This allows you to see the path and edit it in the viewport. With the runs in place, I could also start blocking out the camera. This stage is called layout. My go-to camera setup is the camera aim and up, which you can find under Create, Cameras, Camera Aim and Up. I usually group the camera and up so that these can move as one unit, and I can add tilting later on using the up after nailing down the main camera moves. This allows me to accurately track the characters and move the camera around more freely. However, at this stage, I'm keeping everything very simple because a lot of it will be adjusted further down the line. After getting the rough camera and timing into the scene, I then start roughly blocking out the main actions, like the slip and falls. For this part, I try to match my initial feel and energy of the animatic. Now, I find more specific references for the animation. I always like to find references of real animals in addition to other animated creatures. I can still keep the original running animation by exporting the geo and adding it into the scene. This just helps me keep the tempo of the shot, and I can also use it as reference in case I break the rig too much. I assign a new material and turn up the transparency to make them ghosts. For this shot, I decided to block out the animation of the big fall in stepped tangents so I could focus on the poses. Now I select all the controls and spline the curves in the graph editor. I often find it useful to hit the Euler filter here too, just in case some of the rotations went crazy during the blocking. Now I can see the basic movement between the poses and fix any timing that doesn't work. Just splining the animation doesn't make it look great, so this is the stage where I add in-betweens and breakdowns to the animation. Here I focus mostly on the main body movements, hips, chest, head, and feet for both the rat and the bird. I also edit the camera slightly as I go to frame everything just right. I also edited the aspect ratio here to be more widescreen for a more cinematic effect. I have this video here explaining how I use locators to fix foot contacts, but I also use locators for the hips, chest, and head animations as well. There are great tools that will allow you to do this process a lot faster, but here's a simple explanation of how to do this without plugins. I create locators and name them according to whichever body part I want to attach them to. I then parent them to the corresponding IK control and bake out the animation. I delete the constraints and parent the corresponding controls back onto the locators so I can drive the movement using the locators. I love using locators because they give world space representation of the motion in the graph editor. This is different from the original controls, which inherit information from other controls, making it difficult for me personally to fine-tune animation. I also added a bit of tilt to the camera, as if it's a drone tilting inward when flying around a corner. I do this by using the up control in the camera group. After nailing down the main body animation, I added the secondary animation. This would include the ears, toes, tips of the wings, and the tail. The reason I leave this for the very end, after finalizing the body motion, is because all the secondary is influenced by the body motion. I also added a bit of shake on the body of the bird on every step. I did this using anim layers so that it's non-destructive to the existing animation. Because it's a large creature, each movement will cause a little bit of secondary movement throughout the rest of the body. Because the rat is a lot smaller, it doesn't need all the shake. I also added a bit of subtle camera shake on a layer when the camera drone passes through the log and when the bird stomps close to it when exiting frame. Next up, Chay is picking up the shot and adding muscle and skin simulation to the creatures. special thanks in this project goes to Chay Johansson, the TD artist, rigger, CFX artist, and the producer of this sequence. Stacy Yoy for creature effects, Ben Nockolds for audio. Eddie Chu, my longtime mentor and friend from Griffin Animation Academy, who supervised this shot and gave feedback at every step of the way. And Nick Gaul for the amazing character models.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Bye!